Good morning. I'm Cynthia Edwards, and it's looks like it's 10 o'clock. I think we'll go ahead and get started. I'm with the Secretary of the Department of Agriculture. Secretary Ward could not join us today. We had planned to introduce the new secretaries from the Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism and the Department of Energy and Environment, but another meeting has been scheduled that the department secretaries had to attend. So today we will be having representatives from each of the departments join us. So welcome to the first quarterly meeting of the BRCC for 2023. In their absence, I think we'll go ahead and just get started with reports from the focus groups. And we'll start off with Jeff Frizzell.
Okay. I'm going to be talking about the cost share programs and some of the work that's been completed in this quarter. It's been a fairly busy quarter. I'm going to jump right into some of the program descriptions because one of the programs has had a name change. And the first one we'll talk about will be the Cross Boundary Wildfire Mitigation Program. That was formerly known as Community Wildfire Protection Program. It's a program that's available to private landowners to get controlled burning conducted on their property within a certain area adjacent to federal lands. Using this program to assist landowners in the watershed, we've completed 9 management plans, multiple landowner assists, and have conducted prescribed burns inside the watershed. 1,380 acres have been affected using this program so far this quarter. Those numbers will increase a little. We're coming up to the tail end of prescribed fire season with green upcoming, so hopefully we'll get a few more in this quarter. But moving on, we've also been able to conduct 5 landowner assists using the Forest Stewardship Program, which is a forest management program available to landowners through a partnership with the Arkansas Department of Agriculture and the U.S. Forest Service. That provides a long-term forest planning option for private landowners, not only in the watershed, but anywhere. Specifically in the watershed, like I said, we've been able to directly affect and conduct planning for 439 acres. We have been able to do 4 landowner assists and 1 management plan have been completed using the Environmental Quality Incentives Program. That's another program that is available to private landowners through partnership with the NRCS and other state management agencies, Arkansas Game and Fish and Arkansas Department of Agriculture. Like I said, we've been able to do 189 acres have been treated and advice given during this quarter. Speaking with our partners over at NRCS, RCPP, the RCPP program looks like it has met its funding for this cycle. They do expect a new round of funding coming with the new farm bill. Most of the projects have been completed under that program, and we've had a pretty significant effect on lands inside the watersheds. The Joint Chiefs program, so far this quarter, we've been able to complete 3 ponds, fencing, and grazing practices that have been completed. From our previous the yearly report and some of the other projects. Most of the Joint Chiefs program projects are still awaiting archaeological approval before implementation can begin. Any large projects with ground disturbance, we do have to work with partners to make sure that we're not going to cause more harm than good. So that is the very brief and with cost share, what's been done and kind of what's still available in the area. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff, for that report. And we now have representatives from each of the departments on. So let me introduce those to you all, and they can wave, and you can see who's representing each department today. From the Department of Energy and Environment, we have Caleb Osborne. You all may recognize Caleb. He's participated in these meetings for several times with the Department of Tourism, where he used to be. He's now with Energy and Environment. We're happy to have Caleb with us today. And Marty Ryle is here with the Department of Heritage, Parks, Heritage, and Tourism. Marty. And
here I am.
Yeah, good. Thanks you for joining us today, too. We have Dr. McMullen. He's been a long member with the Department of Health, and he's joined us many times. And I think he's on this here today as well. So thank you all for being here and representing your departments. I will go ahead and pick up with our updates from the focus area working groups. And next is the unpaved roads report with Tate Wentz.
Hey, good morning, everybody. So there's not been a lot happening in the unpaved road work group since the last quarter. In the last quarter, we did announce disbursement of the first draw for Newton County for the Cave Mountain project. That was $215,813. That leaves $160,682 remaining to be dispersed of BRCC funds. We are currently working with Judge Campbell and his team and the National Park Service to get the county road department back out to continue tree grubbing and complete construction of that project. That's the only BRCC activity to report. In other news from the Arkansas Unpaved Road Program, we do have two other projects with Newton County. One is both are being funded under non-point source subgrants. The first is both are on Cave Creek. The lower access Cave Creek is a Gene Rush WMA. That's a project with the Nature Conservancy and Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. That's a short project to remove a low water crossing and replace it with a more structurally sound, safer structure and complete several unpaved road best management practices. The other project on Cave Creek is the third crossing further up on Cave Creek, again, replacing a low water crossing to make it safer for local residents and reduce sediment reduction. The third is a new project. Searcy County just applied for state unpaved road funding. We were reviewing that project. This would be a phase 2 completion project on Richland Road. It would complete 1.5 mile of unpaved road best management practices and include 7 new culverts to reduce sediment input to the Buffalo. And with that, I'll conclude my report and take any questions.
Any questions for Tate?
Tate, Ben Milburn here with Buffalo River Outfitters. I got a quick question for you.
Sure.
How much money is that going to leave after the culvert program? Do you know?
So I don't have the figure in front of me for what Searcy County applied for, but I will say the number of applicants for the state unpaved road program this year did set a record. We're just under $1 million in requests with $300,000 of state funding, but we do hope to supplement the additional request with 319 or the non-point source sub dollars. So I don't actually have that figure in front of me of what Searcy County requested.
Okay. Now I know the Park Service has got that South Woolham Road that runs out of St. Joe all the way down to the Woolham access there. There's what they call the high bank is where the road runs right along the river's edge, has washed out and is continuing to deteriorate into the river. And I don't know if there's any money that we can help provide to get that project moved along so that we can get that road fixed and what little bit of damage it's causing to the Buffalo corrected, and then hopefully get it open back up so that people can start accessing St. Joe from the Woolham access, and we can get some of the economics back from people spending their money and buying their goods from the stores there locally instead of driving. Not to throw shade on Western Grove or any part of the Newton County, but St. Joe's got very little economic opportunity. And when you got to come in from the north side, it's a lot quicker for people to get their goods and services if they go north to Western Grove than is if they turn south and come back towards St. Joe. And so I think a lot of commerce is moving into neighboring communities instead of directing itself into St. Joe. And I'm sure everybody's aware that we're still the poorest county in the state of Arkansas, and that's probably the poorest community in the state of Arkansas really needing some help right now. And so if we could push those projects along and use some of our influence to help promote that and push those projects, would be great if we could go that direction.
Certainly. And Ben, I appreciate you bringing that to our attention, and we can definitely communicate to the county judge and try and figure out how to get that into the queue.
Well, when Jim was in office, I talked about it with Jim Harness often. That road has been washing out and has been closed for over 2 years now. They've had it closed where you can't drive on it. It has been washing out probably for the last I'm going to say 4.5, maybe close to 5 years, there was two vehicles that left the roadway there into the river and took some of the brush line and trees that were holding that bank up and started to cause some of that damage to occur on that road. And I think that in time it's just washed away, and we're all familiar with how long it takes the National Park Service, Department of Interior, to do their studies and get their things done so that we can start to move forward on these projects. And they've got it in their planning phase to try to get the initial planning, the engineering and all that done. But we could be looking at anywhere from 5 to 10 years before the federal government gets the initiative to get anything done, which is really going to put a heavy economic load on St. Joe if we can't try to get that road open. I mean, not only for visitation for the tourists that are trying to get there, if they're coming from Little Rock or south, they've got to defer at least 30 to 45-minute drive out of their way before they can get in there, where it would be a 15 or 20-minute drive straight into the river if they could turn there on that south side. So I don't know what kind of influence we can have to try to drive the federal highways and the Department of Interior to try to promote that and promote them to maybe put that on the forefront of some of their repair stuff. And if we can help use some money of ours to kind of get some of the planning process done, try to get some of the engineering, or to help influence some of our leaders here in the state to use their contacts in Washington to try to help drive that project. Whatever help we can get from anybody, we really could use right now in northern Searcy County.
Ben, we appreciate those comments. Are there any other questions for Tate? Okay, we'll move to a report from the Water and Wastewater System Infrastructure from Ryan Benefield.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Ryan Benefield, Deputy Director here at Natural Resources. Going to give you a quick update on the Water and Wastewater Subcommittee. We have 3 separate projects that we've been, one was funded through BRCC funding, and the other 2 we've been tracking as far as BRCC. The first one is the project with Jasper, which really has 2 phases to it. One is the installation of a new sewer manhole, and the other is an upgrade to the treatment plant. As we've discussed in the past, we've had some construction issues with the manhole, but it sounds like we now have a plan in place, and construction on the manhole should be resuming this month or early next month. And then this project for Jasper's wastewater treatment plant also received some ARPA funding through Natural Resources end of last year. And so the whole project to upgrade the treatment plant will have to begin construction based on the ARPA award by the end of this year. So we should see the bigger projects start by the end of the year. In addition, we're working with the project at Marble Falls to upgrade and expand that treatment plant. Similar, it has been in the planning stages, and we're anticipating plans and specs being submitted and approved this spring. They also received some additional money from the ARPA award. So again, they will be beginning construction on that project no later than the end of the year to meet the requirements of the ARPA funding. The last one I wanted to mention is we're still excited as we reported that we extended the septic tank remediation pilot program into the watershed last year, our 3rd of the 3 pilot watersheds that we had approved. Ozark, formerly Ozark Water Watch, now H2 Ozarks, is managing the program within the watershed on behalf of the division. They have, as with the other 2 watersheds, it's a little slow and then really starts to kick in. But we have had 12 leads and 1 actual completed project now. And then 3 that we have approved and designed and they're pending quotes. So we do, it is starting slow just as with the other 2 watersheds, but we anticipate this year really kicking in and starting to see those numbers expand. And with that, I'll answer any questions.
Any questions for Ryan?
Hey, Ryan, this is Caleb Osborne. I should know this, and I'm blanking, so I'm just going to go ahead and ask. What is the funding source on that H2 Ozarks septic program? How are y'all doing that?
So we gave them a grant out of our state water development fund to do the administrative side. The actual septic tank side of it comes out of the Clean Water State Revolving Loan Fund. And it's part of, they're also running the one in the Upper White or the Beaver watershed. So really, it's an expansion of those funds we awarded under the Clean Water SRF. So it's two pieces. We can't use administrative out of the Clean Water SRF. That's why it was a state-funded administrative grant.
Okay. Okay. And is this considered a pilot, or is it something y'all are going to try to do on an ongoing basis?
So we did get it approved through our commission as a pilot into 3 watersheds. The first 2 were the Illinois River watershed and the Upper White or Beaver Reservoir watershed. The Buffalo was the 3rd. We hope to expand it eventually, most likely using our nutrient reduction targeted watersheds as the as the way we're going to expand. Is we would like to move into those targeted nutrient strategy watersheds.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. You've covered that before. I just couldn't remember. So thank you.
Ryan, this is Richard. So I guess my question relates you mentioned Marble Falls. What is their plan there? Are they going to retrofit the existing system, replace the whole thing? Just kind of general, what was the plan?
So as you recall, we heard a presentation from the folks who are redeveloping the old dog patch area. So as part of that redevelopment, they're going to actually replace the treatment works and tie it into what they need for the new development, and working with the Marble Falls area, which is on top of the hill. So it will be a replacement of the system and then an expansion to accommodate the new development.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and Dr. McMullen, we have an update from Connie Walden later in the program too about the Marble Falls project. So let me get a little more information as well there.
Wonderful.
Okay. Any other questions for Ryan? Okay, we'll move on to the tourism and tourism impacts. Marty, again, welcome you joining us today. Do you have any updates on tourism? I know it's a quick turnaround for you all joining it as a new secretary and for Parks and Heritage and Tourism, but happy to have you say a few words if you have time.
Well, I don't really have an update from tourism. I'm sorry about that. We just had our the governor's tourism conference down in El Dorado, and that was a big success, and looking forward to it next year in Jonesboro. And we're looking, we've gotten a lot of support from the governor and the first gentleman of making our parks and tourism a priority of the administration, improving some bike trails and making it a focal point of tourism as we move forward. So we've been busy with that, with some legislation to help us with that during the session. So we're excited about what lies ahead. I knew our new secretary, Mike Mills, regrets he couldn't be here with you today. He'd love to give you an update himself, but hopefully next time he can do that. But we're excited about the opportunity and look forward to working with everybody on this call and this meeting. And please reach out if there's anything we can do or any suggestions you have on ways we can do things better.
Thank you very much. I know Secretary Mills has a long history with Buffalo River, and a lot of folks up there know him well from his concession up there for many years. So we look forward to working with him. All right, that brings us to our other business on the agenda, and that would be an update from Connie Walden on the Marble Falls project. Connie, are you able to join us today?
I am. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
So yes, the Marble Falls project, I'm Connie Walden with Great River Engineering, and I'm leading the design phase for these upgrades for the Marble Falls Sewer Improvement District. Due to funding, so we did split originally the project into 2 phases. Phase 1 was remediation and replacement of the existing wastewater treatment facility, including a new connection that would replace the old connection to the old dog patch property where the development is going in. And then phase 2 was an expansion to the new treatment facility, as well as complete remediation of the existing collection system. However, as we have started, it looks like we will be able to have funding for the full project through a combination of EDA funds and state funds. So we are working through combining our phase 1 and phase 2. However, I'd already started with the design plans for phase 1. So those will still come out first. However, we are pushing forward to just combine the project as we move into construction phase. So As of right now, our goal is still by May to complete the phase 1 construction documents and try to get that rolling as fast as possible, while at the same time, we'll roll out phase 2, get the engineering survey out there, and start looking at which collection pipes need repair or replacement or lining.
All right, good deal. Like a lot of good progress going on there. Any questions for Connie?
Hey, Connie, this is Caleb Osborne from DEQ. I just wanted to share, the Marble Falls Sewer Improvement District has had a long history with our program of things, and we are very anxious and excited to see some improvements and some of the situations there resolved. If there's anything on the permitting side or any other technical questions that our team and the Office of Water Quality can provide to be helpful as you work through the design and the construction and implementation phase, please reach out. Let us know if you're not getting the answers you need. Reach out to me and let me know, and we will make sure that happens, because this is a unique opportunity to get a long-time area concern for us resolved and get some things going the way they should. So please let us know. We stand ready to help as we can, and I'll make sure our team follows through on that.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that, and I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, it's a very interesting project, and I went to school at the University of Arkansas, so I have a rich knowledge of the Buffalo River area due to their program there. And the Sewer Improvement District is very excited to get this taken care of. They have hired a new operating service as well as a new operator, and that operator works with a new sampling company. So we are looking at a fresh start here, and we're hoping to make sure it's as successful as possible.
Yeah. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of the planned agenda. Are there any other questions or from anyone before we wrap up? All right. Well, we will plan another meeting for the next quarter. We hope to have the secretaries there. I know it's Secretary Mills and Secretary Corey will be looking forward to meeting all of you and participating in this, and we look forward to having them. We do have the next quarter, we will see the progress on the unpaved roads, and we do have a little bit of funding left, and we need to see how those projects are going to wrap up. Those had a lot of contingencies built into them, and of course the cost of items in those projects has been up and down. So we'll hopefully have a better handle on how much money we actually have remaining that we can disperse, and that hopefully we can do that next quarter. If not, it may be the one after that, but we'll keep everyone posted on that. All right, if there's not anything else, I think we can call this meeting adjourned.
I have a quick comment, please.
Sure.
What about our dark skies project? I know the National Park Service is really embracing the dark skies, and the Tyler Bend Visitor Center has some new employees there who are, they're really into astrology and are really wanting to push forward with increasing our dark sky opportunity in the area. And I wasn't sure what kind of funding we still had available to promote other small communities in the area to jump on board and start to embrace that dark sky initiative that the National Park Service is trying to drive for the Buffalo National River. I know that some of our light pollution is coming from Marshall and Western Grove and some of the small communities there that if we could help to fund to kind of change the lighting I think we'd have to work with the Petit Jean Electric Cooperative and Energy in that area. I think those are our two main power providers, to get them to change some of the shades and things like that on their night lights, their night watcher lights and stuff around on some private property. But I didn't know what kind of funding we had available, what kind of influence we might be able to push out there to influence these electric cooperatives and energy to start to transition around the Buffalo National River for our dark sky initiative.
Sure, that's a good question. And we will be getting more information about the amount of funding left as these projects, the road projects, move forward. So we'll have a better handle on that. At that time, we'll solicit proposals for different ways we want to spend that money. I know we did fund a dark sky project in the city of Gilbert, and they have completed their project to replace some street lights there in their town. So we had, do
Right.
have, yeah, on that.
Right.
So. and
I
think it's
remember
been-
that. I don't think Marshall, I don't know. I mean, I saw where the Marshall City Hall is on the meeting, and I don't know if they've got any input on this, but I don't know if they have taken any initiative to start to look into their lighting around town. But that, do you think that we could come up with some funding to help the town of Marshall to do some of their lighting in St. Joe, if we can get people on board to, to want to transition into the dark sky initiative?
Yeah, I think that'll be something the group can discuss when we have a idea of how much money we have left. And in the past, we've always just taken different time to solicit proposals, and then the committee reviews them and makes those considerations. So we can certainly keep that in mind.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions before we adjourn? Or comments? All right. Well, thank you all for your time today. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you all next quarter.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.